This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Join me as I discuss whether or not uh, the Book of Three belongs in a place of glory in the Fortress fiction. I'm discovering it, or I'm discussing it chapter by chapter. I'm talking about chapter 5 this time, which is called The Broken Sword. And I have a few topics I want to talk about. So the first one I'll start off with is soft magic, which actually, let me adjust my notes real quick. The magic system that Lloyd Alexander is using here is very soft, and by that I mean we don't really, as the audience, understand how it works, why it works, what exactly people are doing with their magic, and I think that's a good thing. It's very much in line with the way Gandalf the Grey operates in the Tolkien books. It's very much in line with the way that the Old Queen or Old Princess Irene works in George MacDonald's The Princess and the Goblin. It also kind of defines how the goblins themselves work in The Princess and the Goblin, and even in The Princess and Curdie, some of the magical things that go on there are definitely more within the soft magic category, and I like that. I think it's a good thing. I had a preference for hard magic before I was better read, I think, and before I was writing my own magic into things. And as time went on, I realized, doing a hard magic system, it's not as fun for me. It's not as appealing to me as the author, and to some extent, it's not as appealing to me as the reader and as the audience. It's just something I enjoy less. Hard Magic by Larry Correia, which is not for children. I do talk about family-friendly stuff here on Fortress Fiction, but Larry Correia is a prolific author. He is the author of the Monster Hunter International series, as well as the Grim Noir Chronicles, which features a trilogy plus some extra books. The first of which is called Hard Magic, is about a hard magic system, sort of, and I think he describes it as an epic fantasy, but it's in a noir setting, and it's very interesting. It treats magic as something systematic, and you discover the origin of magic. The origin of the magic doesn't preclude there being real magic in the universe. It just defines the source of the real magic to something very finite, and not so much infinite. Whereas the grass net that Gwydion uses in here, he learned it from Dalbin. He learned that technique from Dalbin. So he's got some sort of magic capacity or capability. It's unclear. He refuses to say, and Alexander refuses to divulge that to us. And Achrin has very unclear magic abilities as well. She seems to be at one point healing Taran, or at least making him feel better, making him feel more comfortable, making him susceptible to talking to her, and possibly giving up vital information. So she's enchanting him, and it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. Gwydion realizes what's happening, and so he interrupts her flow, and she's not able to fully enchant Taran, although she was certainly working on it. And then we also get to see, I don't know if this was magical or not, and that's kind of the way soft magic works. She tries to break the sword that Gwydion has, and sparks fly as she crashes it into a pillar and throws it to the floor, and then finally she grabs it with her bare hand. She grabs the naked blade, and her hands end up bleeding, but she's able to break the sword with sounds of thunder and I think flashes of lightning and things like that, and she tells Gwydion that she will break him just like she broke his sword, which makes her pretty scary. But that's all done through a soft magic. Her eyes roll in the back of her head, and she starts muttering something that Taran is unable to understand. At least I think we're seeing the scene from Taran's perspective. Pretty sure. In fact, I'm mostly sure. And it's really interesting how it's executed. It's almost like a sword and sorcery thing where magic is bad and magic is scary, and you don't want to have anything to do with it. Sword and sorcery referring to things like Thomas E. Howard's Conan, or what I have more experience with from him, which is Solomon Kane. And so it's like you can kind of observe what magic does and the kinds of things magic is able to do in a world with soft magic, but you don't understand at all how it works, and there's no real attempt to explain it to you. In fact, there may be attempts to obfuscate how the magic functions by the author. But I like it. I think it's very effective, and it's a lot of fun. It definitely helps to keep a sense of wonder, I think, because I, like Taran, was wondering how exactly Gwydion did this grass net thing, and then it made me wonder and have awe and have fear a little bit of Achran and what she's able to do, because she totally trashed that sword, and we don't know how, and it makes her more scary. So that's good. Also, speaking of Achran and what makes her scary, her duality is scary. She ends the chapter very much in a position of power and in a position of making threats and letting everybody know that she is the one who wields the power and that she is in control of their lives. And yet she starts off the chapter softly. She says something, she said, "This lad can barely keep his feet," about Taran, and she's saying, "You're injured," and oh, this must be a terrible mistake. And wanting to help these men and fix the situation that they're in. But the softness that she has is strategic, and it's just kind of hiding the metal underneath. And it's like a iron fist with a velvet glove. She's both, and that's really interesting, her duality. And she even seems to be hinting at something a little unsavory when she tells Gwydion that there are like other ways to negotiate or other ways to bargain or something like that, and kind of was very interesting, very suspicious about. I'm very suspicious as an adult, like what exactly is she hinting at? But it's very unclear, and there's no way Tarn would know, and we probably fly over most kids' heads. But maybe she just means torture. She could mean torture. Gwydion tries to make space for Taran to run away, and Taran refuses to run. He instead settles himself in, and he decides to fight with Gwydion, and he strikes a blow against one of the Cauldronborn, and Gwydion says, "Why didn't you run away?" And he expresses like a gratitude for his bravery and some respect for him standing and fighting, even though he should have been wiser and ran. But Taran really does show courage, and while he is foolhardy, he is hardy, and that is good, and that's something to be proud of, and that's something to admire in him. And I think it's clear that we get to see that Gwydion does respect that, so that's really neat. Neat exchange, neat representation of both of their characters and what's going on under the surface. And then he passes out a bunch and goes into fever dreams as he's getting carried off by the Cauldronborn to the castle or tower or whatever where Achran is, and where she's holding them. And the silent horror of the Cauldronborn is really effective. One of them, Gwydion, stabs in the heart, and he just like shakes it off and then keeps fighting. They don't speak, and they seem to not want others to speak as well. They have these whips that they wear around their waists, and at some point Taran is talking to Gwydion, and one of the Cauldronborn whips him into silence. And they talk about how Aran has like driven all humanity and all memory of joy and all these other good things that made them human out of them, so that they're just like really just shells. They're combat competent shells, and they have no more humanity left, and they almost even seem to detest, or well, maybe there's a shred of it, which is like they detest and they resent the humanity of others and the camaraderie and the brotherhood of others who can talk, because they can't talk. And they keep silencing Taran and Gwydion throughout their exchange, and it's really interesting to me. Like, I don't understand what exactly Alexander is hinting at with that, but it does seem to be profound, and it is scary, and it makes them creepy and effective, so that's nice. So anyway, this was a really good chapter. The book keeps humming along. It just keeps getting better, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I hope to continue enjoying it, and hope to keep moving forward quickly. From this point on, I took a break for a while, but I'm back now, and in the meantime, I did some things like finish my book, Mockwing Mayhem, which I'm working on getting cover art for, and I'm working on running up my like email campaign and my launch campaign and all that. So hopefully I'll be announcing that soon, and be sharing that with you and the rest of the world, and hopefully we can make a good go of it. It's a fantasy story with magical bugs battling monsters, and if you want to find out more about that, go to growbugs.com. There's also going to be a cool bonus. If you sign up, you can get a field guide to Mach Wing Mayhem, where you can learn more about the world of Mach Wing Mayhem and more about the world of the Grow Bugs that feature in the book. So that's it for now.